I know you're at Bangkok Airport. You only just landed.
I just landed like about 30 minutes ago. Yeah.
Long flight, isn't it? About 9 hours or 10 hours from Sydney.
Yeah, I slept through it.
Yeah. Oh, good on you. Good on you. Now, listen, Vic, you're just the type of fan that I love to talk to because tell me where I'm getting this wrong. You went from the United States to Sydney to see Kylie, and now you're following her to Asia so that you can see her in Bangkok as well.
uh, Call me obsessed, right? That's what true fans do.
It is amazing. And I've got to ask, I'm dying to know what you thought of the show, but I need to start here. Why didn't you wait for her to come to the United States? Because for the first time in her career, she's doing the proper tour over there.
It's a little sentimental for me. Like, I've known her music and I've been a fan for so many years. And she's at a point in her life, right, that, like, it's pretty nostalgic for us fans who have seen her so many times in the past. I just want to see more and more of her. So I just didn't want to wait till she came to the United States. I'm like, why not go to Australia itself and start it where it all began? I wish I could go to Melbourne, but I have friends in Sydney, so I said, why not Sydney?
Absolutely. And I was there too. Were you at show number one, two, or three in
I
Sydney?
was I was on the last night, and it was intentional because, like, I could tell that she was so emotional, like the final night, and yeah, that's why I picked the third night. Yeah,
Yeah, final night in on the Australian leg of the tour. So,
yeah.
without further ado, tell us, what did you make of the show?
You know, I couldn't have expected anything less from her because I, I mean, I curb my expectations because she always surpasses them. So it was mind blowing. I obviously had really good seats. I was like 3 rows from the stage, not
Wow.
the B stage, the main stage, and it
Wow.
was mind blowing. It was mind blowing as always. Like, it it never changes. And like at the end of the show, you go back home and you just cannot sleep because you're on such a high. Like that's the high that we all crave for.
It's euphoria, isn't it? It's just pure euphoria.
Yeah.
Amazing. Had you done spoilers before you saw the show, or was it a complete surprise to you?
I mean, yeah, being part of the like Facebook pages and all that stuff, it's so tough to avoid those. And I honestly don't mind. And it was a good thing that I did see some of the reactions and videos that all the fans were posting. Yeah, I did. So spoilers don't ruin it for me.
What was it about this show that really stood out to you? Was it the amazing opening? Was it the disco medley? Was it the fact that she went back to the some of her original Rhythm of Love material and did it as intended, the original versions? Or was it the ending? Was it Padam? What did it for you? What were the moments in this show that grabbed Vic?
Okay, so you know that there are like five different parts, right? And I'll be totally honest. I don't think I can pick. There was one part that was better than the other because each one was so good. But if I had to pick one part that really like put me in a trance, was the part where she came in the purple short dress, right? And
Yes.
the time bomb piece. That whole thing was pretty damn amazing. It was so good.
Oh, Vic, a lot of people are saying that, myself included. I was such in a trance after it. I couldn't quite remember, but I said to someone who'd been to the show, I said it was the bit where she transforms into a purple dress and then and what I know it to be now is the Chemical Brothers remix of Slow.
Slow, yes, yes, yes.
And then she just marches with such attitude down. And then that whole section of Edge of Saturday Night and Time Bomb. Incredible, right?
It was, and God bless her for like it's probably her genes that she is so beautiful, and nobody would newer fans, like if you introduce her to newer fans, people who have not kids who have not seen her or known her music, and you just show them a video and you don't tell them that her age, and they're like, for real, is she 56, and how can she have that kind of energy and that kind of stage presence and the voice, it only keeps getting better. There's no part of Kylie. It's not. It's like it's a reversal. Like she's getting better and better with age.
Like Kylie Button, we could call her, I guess. And a lot of people are talking about the voice. I have heard
Yeah.
this now about 5 times, and it's my opinion too. Her voice was just pristine on the Tension tour so far. It's whatever she's doing. There was one fan I spoke to who thinks that when she's drinking from that little bottle in between songs, apparently it's some sort of solution that's helping her throat and her keeping that voice pristine. But boy, she sounds good, doesn't she, Vic?
She is amazing. She's, as I said, like I've not known any artist, and I've been to many a live shows all over the world, but she's the only one. And again, I could be biased because I'm an obsessed fan, but I'm also pretty critical. Like, I'm seeing all these younger artists, like from Dua Lipa to Charlie XCX, and everyone in between, and even Madonna is still, like going around the world, and she's working on a new album. But it's something about Kylie, like she has that perfect combination. Not only she is looks amazing, she's only getting better with her voice, and she's doing things that nobody else is doing, like for her age at least, to bring in the newer fans. And it's happening so organically. She's not trying too much. Like she's just being herself.
You're definitely blessed if you're born in on planet Earth and you can go into an arena like that and every person can't stop their eyes being on you. Like she's just got that presence, right? What
She
did she
does.
do in that middle stage when you were at the third Sydney show? Because she takes audience requests there. She sings "Say Something." There's a bit of disco, but she also takes
Yes,
some requests. What did she do during your show?
she was. From what I remember, she did a little bit of. I think it was. She didn't do a lucky, but I honestly don't remember because I was so distracted when she went there, and the part of the arena that I was in on the floor, they were letting us go in front. So when she was taking the request, I remember the part where she did where the wild rose grow, right? So the
Ah,
that part, and then I was totally blown away when she did say something, and then with real groove, like when she walked from the center stage and all the way to the back, that was simply awesome.
she just looks like she's having so much fun when she's walking through the crowd. I mean, and by the way, super fans will know that's probably a little throwback to the Vegas shows where she said she wanted to get close and she did get close to the audiences. Can I ask a question? Since you were so
Sure.
close to the stage, did you notice that there was a lot of security around her? I've heard on the first show, maybe when she does that walk from main stage to the middle stage, it was fairly relaxed. But then I've heard that the security has beefed up a little bit over the show's subsequent. What was it? Did you notice what was going on
I
during
mean, I
that
mean,
point?
yeah, they were there, but she was walking so fast, and she was surrounded by her dancers, and I don't think there were as many security folks on the third night as probably the one before, because I didn't watch any of the videos from the center stage performance and her walk, and that's the part I was really surprised, because the real groove part, which started on the center B stage, and the walk from the B stage to the main stage was so long, and
Yeah.
she extended real groove, and and that's when we started moving from the B stage and trying to follow her, but because it was so crowded, we ended up just watching the screen, and then watching this screen on the main stage, seeing her walk and having fun, that was something else. And you're absolutely right. She took the Vegas show, because I went to see her in Vegas as well, and she just ran with it, and she made it bigger, and that's the reason why it felt so intimate. This show felt more intimate than any of the shows I've seen before.
That is amazing to hear you say that. You saw her in Vegas, you've seen other shows, yet that was what I walked away with. The connection between Kylie and the audience in this huge arena was
Yeah.
so intimate. It was so intimate. So, give us some context, Vic. How many times have you seen her? How far back do you go? What was the first concert you ever saw of Kylie?
My first concert was the Showgirl concert in London. Yeah.
The original showgirl.
Yes, the original one before she was diagnosed.
So
Yes.
you went to London and she came out in that blue feather outfit. I mean, that was an amazing show too, right?
It was for me, it will always be the best Kylie show ever. And again, like, not that the others are not good, but it's so tough to compare her shows, right? uh, they all are so different, like, but the opening, that opening when she comes up in that blue showgirl dress, it's
Yeah.
always gonna be in our hearts and in our heads, right?
And to be fair, Vic, the first time Kylie seduces you live will always be the most intimate.
Whenever I listen to Tim and his panel of guests, my toes begin to curl, and I feel just the right amount of tingling all over my aching body. Now, let's get back to the show. Oh!
So, Vic, just let me give some context here. There was some
Sure.
horrible headlines that I didn't see because I was on media blackout, but I've seen them now, saying that the fans were really hypercritical of the Tension Tour when it opened in Perth. Subsequently, the same journalist who stirred all this shit up, and it was just shit because
Yeah.
he didn't do any research, he didn't talk to anyone, he just took it all from Twitter. But anyway, he's issued an apology today saying, Kylie, I apologise. I've now seen the show and you're incredible. I'm trying to get hold of him. I'm actually literally, as I'm talking to you, Vic, a friend of the journalist has reached out to me and said that she's going to try and get in touch with him for me. He might be a little bit regretful if he does happen to come on this show, but that's another story. So,
Yeah.
given those negative headlines, and I assume you saw them too, Vic, where does this show sit? Where does the Tension Tour sit in the landscape of Kylie shows that you've seen so far?
Okay, in my opinion, she is the kind of artist who has reinvented herself so beautifully. And again, I don't think I can compare her to anyone for a bunch of reasons. Maybe I'm an obsessed fan and I've been a fan of hers for so long. But I think what she's doing now is she's taken, as I said before, she took the Vegas show and made this tour and made it larger than life because the visuals are so spectacular. Whoever is that, I think it's Sophie Muller who is doing the videos, and this the screen shows in the
It
background.
is.
it
Yeah.
is it is out of this world, and it only keeps getting better and better. A part of it reminds me of everything that she's done in the past. The visuals in the on the stage, on the screens, have always been mind-blowing, but this is like taking it to a newer level, and she's just doing those things that, you know doing it better than all these younger artists, because I've seen the newer ones like Charlie XCX and it's Dua Lipa, as I said before. She's like, okay, I'm not just competing with you. I probably can beat you all, given the
And
generational
I'm so
difference.
glad you noticed the backdrop's been pristine as well, like her
Yep.
voice, because I've been to every Kylie show since the beginning, and she often has visuals. But the crispness of these displays, and then I had Dean from the Gold Coast came on this show recently, and he
Yeah.
spoke about the fact that this is straight from K-pop world. Like this is the trend at the moment to have this very clean, modern, futuristic, but
Yes.
high definition staging. I am so glad, Vic, even though some fans disagree, I am so glad that she took her act and brought it right up into 2025, because she could have come out with props, she could have come out with different theatrical staging, but she
Yeah.
went totally modern and clean, right?
Yeah, and she's obviously, got hints of some of the things she did in the past, like Showgirl, the medley in the middle with Shock, and those dancers who come up in these oversized outfits, and she did the same thing here, but in a newer, more current way. When all those dancers came out in neon yellow, green, pink balloon outfits, right? That's what I call them.
I
It's
still
like
don't know what they were.
I was like, oh my god, these dancers can dance in those outfits. Oh, guess what? They did something like this back in the day, but this is so modern and taking it
I'd
to the next
forgotten
level.
about that. I've asked quite a few people about those strange, people are calling them the Teletubby outfits. But now that you've just referenced it, you're absolutely right. Back in the middle of the Showgirl tour, there was
Yeah.
something a little bit quirky and similar to this. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. And that in that medley, Shock was my most favorite part. And she did Shock on this tour as well, and I'm so glad
Yeah.
she did the full version of Shock. I was so happy about that.
And full version of What Do I Have to Do, original
What do I
version,
have to
which I
do?
love as well.
Yes.
Absolutely. So you went to the Vegas shows. That's one tour that or if you can call it a tour, one show that I didn't get to go to. How did this compare to the small, relatively small room at the Voltaire? I think it was called, wasn't it?
Yes.
So how did this stack up to that?
Well, I think the idea of doing the residency and the kind of residency that she did in Voltaire in Vegas, I'm pretty sure she's going to come back because it was such a big success. Uh, because the crowd is so small, it felt extremely intimate. Like, no matter how far you are, you can see her so clearly, no matter where you're sitting in that. It's not even an arena. It's like it felt more like a club, a nightclub
Yeah.
where everyone is seated. And I know that there's general admission, like a few hundred people were standing in the back, but even those, they could see her so close, and she would walk around, come down, and that was a small, intimate, real intimate show, the residency. But this one, I think she took the inspiration and wanted to make it more intimate at a bigger scale. So when it compares to 1,000 people in a small nightclub watching the Vegas residency, here you are in the middle of like 16,000 people in Kudos Bank Arena, right? So all those 16,000 people could feel. I'm pretty sure the ones who are sitting it way back in the bleachers, or I'm from the US, so we call them the bleachers. Like the
Yeah. Yeah.
nosebleed seats. Even they could feel the energy and the intimacy of Vegas, but only probably 100 times more.
Yeah, amazing. She absolutely took flavors from that Vegas experience, and I couldn't agree with you more. I think she's going to be back and forth to Vegas for the rest of her career.
Yeah,
I've done the sums myself. Apparently, she got paid a fortune for it, but when I did the sums of the ticket prices, because they were expensive, and then the
yeah.
drinks and all the expenditure on top of it, she made them a fortune, despite how much she was given. Hey, you followed her to the Asian leg of the tour. You're going to see her in Bangkok. When is that?
Yes,
When's the Bangkok show?
that's on Monday, the 10th.
Monday. Okay.
Yep.
And have you ever seen shows in Bangkok before in Asia? Like, are they great
No,
venues?
this is my first time watching a concert in Bangkok, and I
Right.
love Thailand, and I want to come here. I had not planned to come here for this trip, but when I got the tickets to the Sydney concert, I'm like, I'm already in Australia, and this is like an 8 hour flight, so why not, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
make it a
And it gets you
double
halfway
date.
home as well,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
to speak.
exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
So, and is that the end of it for you? Tell us about your Tension tour experience. You've seen it. You came all the way from the United States over to Sydney. You've seen her at the Kudos Bank Arena for night number 3. You've just got
Yep.
off the plane. I can literally still hear the airport in the background, which is fantastic. Makes me feel like I'm part of your trip. You're going to see her in Bangkok on Monday. Is that it for you?
Yes.
Do you fly home after that?
I'll be in Bangkok for 3 more days, and then I fly back home, and I'll take a little bit of a break. And after that, I see her in New York City and Boston, and then back in Miami where I live.
What? So you're seeing Madison Square Gardens is
Yes.
one of the shows you're going to, and then 2 other
Yes.
cities as well.
Yes.
That is incredible. Hey, I've been dying. I'm so glad I'm talking to you, Vic. This is the big question that I've had on my mind.
Yep.
How will this show, the show you just saw in Sydney, how will it likely be received by an American audience? There are some fans who are fairly unfairly, I would say, saying that the Americans won't get this show. It's not big enough. It's too cheap and all this sort of stuff. That's the criticism. How do you think American audiences will receive the Tension tour?
Well, the way I look at it, in United States, her biggest following is really the LGBTQ plus crowd, right? They are
Uh-huh.
her biggest fans. So her shows, there's a reason why she has 2 shows in New York City, and I'm surprised she didn't do a second in LA, being close to Hollywood. But
True.
I think that these cities which have the major LGBT crowd will be the shows will be ahead. Obviously, I'm myself pretty curious about other arenas in places like Denver, Phoenix, um, and a couple of others too. But for the most part, I think because of the success of Vegas, it's not only the Americans. I think fans from Canada and probably from Mexico. Mexico has three shows, and I think the Mexican fans will definitely fly over to US to see her in the US as well. So
Like, would you agree with this that the set list was picked very much for an audience like the American audience who might be seeing her for the very first time? So, OG fans like me, some of
yeah,
them have been unfair and saying, "Oh, there was too many of the big hits and all that." It's like, but you're missing the point. This is designed for all the people who've come on board during the tension era.
yes, absolutely, and also disco. Like she, I'm so glad she is doing all the big hits from disco along with tension because disco is really what set the tone for this new era that we are all looking at,
That's
and
true.
and it pretty much resonated so much with the American fans and brought newer fans to the front. So I'm just glad she is doing so many songs from disco along with tension. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's so exciting. Good on you, Vic, for following her around the world, so to speak.
thank you.
It's an amazing thing. And as an American, how does it feel that she's doing the full scale tour in your homeland?
Yeah, I mean, I've managed to get some of my friends when she first had the big tour in 2009, right? The first time she ever toured. It was a small tour, but from then, and then she came back for Aphrodite, uh, and I pretty much followed her for Aphrodite, almost like this, but I think this time I'm doing more than what I did for Aphrodite. But I'm so happy for all the younger fans who probably have never seen her in the United States. And if
Yeah,
she does the exact same set list, which I think there's a possibility that she might change it a little bit as she crosses the pond or
I
goes to the United
agree.
States. Yeah,
I agree.
but so I'm really excited for that, and I'm really excited for the new fans who will witness her greatness.
I'm spreading rumors, Vic, that in the United States, it wouldn't surprise me if she gets some high profile celebrity guests up on her stage. Do you think that might happen?
It could easily happen. And Jake Shears, she's great friends with Jake Shears, but there are so many other artists she's such great friends with. It could easily happen. I won't be surprised myself.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the last time she was in the United States, it was the For You, For Me. And
Yes.
don't get me wrong, it was a great tour, but it was a conglomerate of lots of tours that had gone before it and a smaller uh, pared back show. This is going to be the full experience this time around. So I'm so excited for the American fans, many of whom listen to this show. So all of you going to it, I'm so pleased that you're getting the full throttle Kylie experience as you deserve. And thanks for making her huge in the United States, American fans. Vic, where are you off to right now? You're heading from the airport to a hotel, I assume.
Yes. Well, I'm going to an island. I'm going to Koh Samui for a couple of days before I come back because I'm
Wow.
like, yeah, I'm in Thailand and I love Koh Samui, so I'm going to Koh Samui for 3 days. I'm back Saturday night, and then getting ready for the concert on Monday.
That's where PP Island, PP Low, and PP Lao are. Is that the same area?
It's pretty much the same. Samui
Yeah,
is like, yeah, next to Fiji.
beautiful area. By the way, it's where Leonardo DiCaprio vaguely
Yes.
filmed The Beach as well.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Vic, you're a globetrotter. I'm jealous, but I'm so grateful that you spoke to me, and I'm so glad that we've connected as well. I hope we stay in touch.
Absolutely, Tim. And next time I'm in Sydney, I'll make sure I give you a shout, give you a heads up, and maybe we could catch a beer.
Sounds great, mate.